Hi, everybody. Jason Hughes here once again at the Hughes Brothers Theater in Branson, Missouri. And this is Born to Entertain. And today we are here with one of my nephews, Johnathan Hughes, of course. And we're going to have a great time talking today, aren't we, Johnathan?
Yeah.
So we've gone to using these microphones to help, hopefully, with the get a little better sound quality, huh? We'll see if that helps, but it might not. But yeah, it won't affect the live sound. But uh, first off, we want to mention that Aubrey Hancock out there asked a question of us. She was wondering how old you are, and you all might want to take a guess how old Johnathan is. There've been a few guesses out there, and Aubrey, from what I understand, guessed that he is 14 years old, which is not right, but very close. In fact, so close that I don't know that you could be closer. So, how old are you?
I'm turning 14 tomorrow, actually.
So, this is one of those things that keeps me up late at night. You know, like when you're 14, you know, did it? How long did it take you to turn 14? Then,
A year.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it could be a year. Because if from 13 it took a year to turn 14, right? But then again, it could have been your entire life. It could have been 14 years because
14 years.
it took you 14 years to turn 14.
Sure, yeah.
See, these are the type of things that keep me up late at night thinking about stuff. So, anyway, well, Johnathan, we're gonna ask you a few questions, and hopefully this'll. I keep on debating whether it's worth writing down questions or just trying to shoot from the hip, and I seem to do okay either way, and not so okay either way. So we're gonna try a combination this time. But yeah, to begin with, why don't you tell us who your parents are?
Andy and Becky Hughes,
Andy and Becky, and Andy is which one of the brothers?
the youngest brother.
The
Fifth brother.
the youngest and fifth brother, and Becky is she's one of the sisters who married
Yeah.
the two brothers. For I don't know if all of you know about that, but we have that going on in the family. and, but yeah, your mother is the younger sister of the two sisters who married our two brothers.
Yeah, she's the youngest in her entire family,
Yeah,
too.
and so where do you fit in your family?
I'm the second
You
second
are
kid.
second, and tell us really quick the makeup of your family.
Well, there's my mom and dad, and then there's my older brother Matthew. He's turning 18 in August, and then there's my sister Natalie. She just turned she's turning 12, and then my sister Julia is 9.
Yeah, so four.
Yeah.
That's you think about four. Since Marty has 15 children, four is your dad is a little bit of an underachiever, sort of, huh? No. So tell us, Johnathan, you've been performing in the show since you were just tiny, and I'm sure if you all out there were to guess to know when Johnathan was on the stage the very first time, I bet you all could probably maybe guess. It's probably when you were baby Jesus, huh?
Yeah, probably.
We don't know that for a fact because some babies are carried out on stage with their
Yeah.
families even before that, but usually debut baby Jesus. And so, what's your earliest memory of being on stage?
Let me think. Probably standing on stage with my family in the family number, just standing there, I don't know how old I was, probably like 5, 6, something like that. I don't know. Just looking out into the audience and I don't really remember.
You don't really remember that. You just figure that's probably
super vague. It's one picture in my mind.
Do you remember when you were? I don't know how old you were, but do you remember when we did the melodrama in the show?
I was the train driver.
You were the train driver. See that we acted out. All the little kids acted out the melodrama. So Tobler was the villain, right?
Yeah, and then
your older brother Matthew.
Yeah, he was the hero, and then
Lucy was it Emmeline?
Yeah,
Emmeline
she was the damsel in distress tied to the train tracks, and then I was the train driver.
He was the train driver that drove the train across the stage, and then they had to save. That was pretty epic.
Yeah. And then Ryan was the narrator.
That's right, brother, or your uncle Ryan was the narrator. The melodrama. Good memories, huh?
Yeah. I remember one of my cousin Jacob. He was one of the violinists that was in the background, and he would always put his foot out and like push me forward to try and make me run over the girl. And then Emmy would get mad at me. She's like, you were starting to run over me.
Before you could get saved.
And then
and we practiced that a lot, huh? Just so you could get the timing and to drive slow enough.
Yeah, where it actually looked like I was moving, but not too fast, because we had like a very limited amount of space to.
Just the length of this stage here that's behind us, which is
half the stage.
I don't know, not too terribly big. Not to last an entire melodrama, epic melodrama.
No.
Right? Well, what do you like? I mean, we don't. It's been years since we've done the melodrama in the show. But what is your favorite song in the show to do now?
Song in the show, probably the opening number, or my solo.
And the opening number is The Greatest Showman, right?
Yeah.
And what do you like about that number?
Well, I'm only in the end of the song, but I come on and I do this. What are they called? Poi balls.
Yeah. They're like LED poi balls that the kids flip around, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a pretty talking about epic songs. That's another one, right? Yeah, that's lots of fun. So, what about what song do you least that you don't like the most that you do in the show?
Well, right now it's Hughes Brothers Kids. I'm not even supposed to be in that song right now, but I'm filling in.
The girls are a girls' camp.
Yeah.
Right? So now he finally graduated. It's the younger kids that do that. You finally graduated out of that song this year, right?
Yeah.
And now suddenly you're back.
Yeah. I was in that. I think I was in the song for like, what? How many years?
Well,
6 years or something like that. It was a long time.
Well, it's a song that sort of is kind of iconic to the children at this point, you know.
Yeah.
And for the show, yeah, and so many of the children, we've actually I think gone through 2 sets of completely different sets of children.
Yeah, I think we have
in that song now.
I think.
And we're maybe on our 3rd set.
Yeah, I think that's right. Lots of people.
Yeah, lots of kids have done that song over the years. But so what do you like besides what's your favorite song in the show? But what do you like to do most in the show?
Singing in general, I guess. That's the best part of the show for me.
You prefer singing over dancing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're kind of got the golden voice, don't you? He's trying to be humble, but it's true. He's got sweet chords for sure. And in fact, I would have thought that when we were talking about favorite songs in the show that you would have said it was your solo.
I did. I said it was the opener or
your solo. Oh,
but
okay.
I didn't get to finish.
I just completely missed that because I cut him off. Yeah. Well, I would think his solo at the end of the show, towards the end anyway, almost. It's the last solo song.
Yeah.
And boy, it's awesome. It's a during the patriotic part of the show, during the veterans tribute. It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty important. It's like a lot of pressure because it's the veterans. You got to do really well for the veterans.
That's right, and
Yeah.
you do most of the time, right?
Yeah, sometimes I'm not feeling well or I didn't get a drink of water before I went on
See,
stage. So
Johnathan is one of those kids that is kind of a little bit of a perfectionist. So if there's even just a tiny little gurgle or something in his voice, he's not happy with his performance. But the truth is even when that happens, it's still super awesome. The audience usually doesn't ever know, but only Johnathan. Only Johnathan knows what his best is, right? So when you're performing before you what is your routine like getting ready for the show?
well, we usually get here like 45 minutes, 30 minutes before the show.
Uh-huh.
And depends on the day. I mean, sometimes we do sound check and stuff before the show. Well, I get changed and then get everything ready. Like I get my poi balls ready. And then we start the show. It's not
So
really much.
do you spend once you're completely ready? Do you usually spend time like reading or doing homework or playing a video game or what other things
Well,
might you
there's
do if
usually
there's a little more time?
There's usually some kind of really interesting conversation going on in the dressing room. So sometimes
There really are some interesting conversations. For a while, some of you might be interested in this that the boys like to play games on their phones and different things backstage during the show, and there was a time when they were missing cues, and we were concerned about why they were missing cues, and we all figured that it must be that they're playing video games. But the truth is the reason that they were really missing cues is because they were getting into these deep philosophical discussions backstage that distracted them completely. And so they would occasionally miss a cue because they were talking politics or philosophy, religion, whatever it is, and there's some pretty deep discussions, isn't there, backstage sometimes? What was the last deep discussion you remember? What was it about?
I think it was about it's about something. I honestly don't remember. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean-
He's actually in a separate dressing room from where I am, so I don't know if you don't really remember, do you?
No, I mean it actually hasn't been that recent. People have been playing video games more and more, so
Okay. Well, video games are less dangerous to the show. We've discovered. So during the show, you're in a lot of parts of the show.
yeah.
But there are also times when you've got some time backstage. Is that kind of what you end up doing backstage too? Is conversations and
Conversation, and if no one's talking, then I might play some video games or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that makes sense. And how about after the show? What's common stuff that happens after the show? Because now the show's over, you can relax. You don't have to make any more cues, right? What kinds of things happen after the show typically?
Well,
You guys are usually the fastest to leave. I mean, your family's
yeah, usually
the least amount of children to
yeah,
try to gather up.
wrangle
Yeah.
together, I guess. Well, I usually, change, and then depends on what time of the day it is. If it's an afternoon show, then we usually don't leave as quick. If it's a night show, everyone's really tired and they really want to go home and go to bed, especially if it's seminary in the morning. That's hard.
Yeah. And of course, the seminary is something that a lot of the children do during the school year, right?
Yeah.
And so, what time does seminary happen in the mornings?
6 o'clock, but
6 o'clock.
usually we have to get up at 5.
Right. And so, if our show typically actually runs about 2 hours and about 20 minutes. And so, if we start at 8, then you're not. The show actually isn't over until like 10:20. By the time everybody gets home, it's usually after 11, right? And you gotta settle down and get yourself ready for bed.
Yeah.
12 o'clock is kind of early to go to bed, sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's usually 1 to 1:30 when I get to bed. But
then,
luckily,
then you got to be up at 5:30 to be to seminary at
yeah,
6.
but I guess I'm pretty lucky because since I'm, besides seminary, I'm homeschooled, so I get to go home and take a nap. But the kids who aren't homeschooled, they have to go straight to regular school afterwards.
Right.
So.
But at least they get to go to bed on time for the most part.
Yeah.
Right? And they're not up as late doing shows. But so it's a trade-off. That's fun for me. There was a 3-year period where I was the teacher of the seminary class, and that was a challenge for this old guy, for sure. And so, how about what is your what is one of the funniest things that's happened in the show that you can think of?
Let's see.
It could be Backstage also.
Yeah, that could, yeah. Lots of really funny things have happened. I'm trying to narrow it down.
Oh yeah. You trying to think of one?
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of funny things happen. I think that the leaving the zipper down is something that happens all
Yeah.
of the time, right? But sometimes people slip and fall, and that's kind of a little bit funny sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes, unless somebody actually really gets hurt, right?
Well, there's something really funny that happened a few months ago where I think it was Cece or
Yeah, that's my youngest daughter. She's 2 years old.
yeah. We were all like we were all on stage as the families. You were talking, and then she gets up and starts walking around and hugging different people on stage.
Yeah,
And she kind of just pulled the attention of the entire audience, and
that's
no
right.
one
She's just a tiny little petite little girl, but she can upstage every single person on stage, including the person talking at the moment, and just walking around hugging people, huh?
Yeah. And everyone's saying, "Hey, Cece, you should go back over there." And then she's like, "Ah." Just like
Yeah, she's
super precious.
she's a lot of fun. So outside of the show, what kinds of things do you like to do outside of the show?
Read. I play video games, and I like to sing just around the house, and I'm really into like history and stuff. That's
Oh, yeah?
that's my favorite school subject.
So what kind of history do you like?
American history, like European stuff. Basically any history.
Any history just really is intriguing.
Pretty
isn't it?
much, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of really love history too.
Yeah.
Have you studied like, let's see here, like World War II?
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite things to study.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what interests you about World War II?
Just what led up to it. Like if World War I didn't happen, World War II wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, because
you know.
one usually comes before two.
Yeah. If after World War I, Germany was in a really bad spot, and that
Right.
allowed Hitler to come to power. So
Right. Now it's kind of an interesting thing because all of the people took the Allies at the time, the United States and,
Yeah.
and Britain and France, right, and also Russia. They had kind of taken away all of the power from Germany, right? So how did that happen? They took all the power away from Hitler, and then from Germany.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, Hitler rises out of the ashes and is this, becomes a superpower, right?
Yeah.
So how did we let that happen?
Well, it wasn't. Germany was a major player in World War. It wasn't actually their fault. Everyone just kind of blamed them for everything, and I think maybe they were a bit too harsh because, like, everything was just really terrible, and you know.
So so maybe World War One wasn't completely their fault. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they definitely weren't helping, but it was actually
Yeah.
it wasn't actually Germany that
It wasn't just them.
yeah,
Right?
they were just the way things worked back then with like you basically have to be in an alliance. If you're in an alliance with someone, then you basically have to help them out. And
And that's how
Austria
World War One started, right?
Austria went
Yeah.
to war, and if Germany was allies with them, so they kind of had to help out. But then Russia and France were friends, and yada yada yada.
Yeah. That's I maybe we're
Convoluted.
boring the rest of you out there quite a bit, but to me, I love this kind of stuff too. But so you're talking my language, brother. But I love all of that stuff too because I love the way to understand how the world works and why it is the way that it is today, why people think the way that they think. There's always a genesis, a place that it came from to begin with that led up to it, right?
Yeah, some people tend to say that history isn't important, but in my opinion, we have to learn from other people's mistakes in the past, and I feel like that
I
can
think
really help us
probably
out now.
important. Some important people probably said that before. Probably, huh? Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that's really awesome, and I commend you for liking history, because I think it's super awesome too. Um, and let's see here. I think we'll just ask you a bunch of really quick questions here. I've written them down so that I don't have to think about them so much. But we've been doing this with a lot of the guys, and we'll just. How about what is your biggest fear?
Fear.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's
Your Uncle Jason asking you questions about fear, right?
um, I don't really. It's pretty. I don't know. It's
You fear nothing.
no, no, that's not what I'm trying to say at all. I don't really
Do
know
you
how
like
to.
speaking in front of people? That's a fear a lot of people have.
Yeah,
And
I think. Well, it's not my greatest fear, but I've never had a problem with just stage fright. But when it's like lots of people, like my people I know out in the audience, then that's when I get nervous.
yeah,
And like
might not be your biggest fear, but it's a fear.
it's definitely a fear.
nonetheless, right? Okay, how about biggest pet peeve? Something that just
Well,
really
I'm pretty
bothers you.
short, right? But
Right.
people tend to treat me like I'm 10 or like 9. Someone thought I was 6 years old a little bit ago, and
I'm not
it
sure.
just annoys
I-
me when people.
I could see that somebody might think you're a really large 10-year-old at this point because you don't look 10 anymore.
Yeah,
But 6, I'm not sure how somebody could make
I don't know how
6.
that. I don't know.
Seriously, people? Okay.
Yeah, it just annoys me
How
when
ab-
people treat me like I'm younger than
that
I
would
am.
annoy me watching people treat you like you were 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about your favorite singer? Do you have a favorite singer you like to listen to?
I don't think I do. I never really thought about who my favorite is.
Anyone you like to listen to?
Michael Bublé.
Okay.
He's really good.
We'll just call that the favorite.
Yeah.
And how about your favorite TV show?
I don't really watch live TV shows. Well, when I was a kid, Phineas and Ferb was like super.
Phineas and Ferb.
It's really
So you
funny.
learn lots of history in Phineas and Ferb,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
How about your favorite sport?
Football, but we
Football.
don't really play that much anymore.
Yeah, well, it's hot outside.
Yeah, it's really hot, so
Yeah, and football's kind of more of a fall thing.
yeah.
Yeah, once it starts getting cooler. How about your favorite movie? Do you have a favorite movie?
No, I don't really think I have a favorite movie, but I think Star Wars is probably my favorite movie series. I know I'm a nerd, but like whatever.
Well, Star
don't
Wars.
care.
Star Wars is, I think, a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about your least favorite song? Do you have a least favorite song?
Um,
A song that just really bothers you?
Let It Go. just because it's a good song,
Let
but
it go. Just let it go.
because when I first saw Frozen, I was like, okay, that's a pretty good movie. And then when we got it, we got it on DVD or
Of course, you
Blu-ray.
have two younger sisters.
Yeah, and
too,
they
Nancy.
watched it so many times, and I kept hearing that song, so it's just kind of spoiled the entire movie for me.
Gotcha. How about well, this one might be right in there too. Your least favorite movie.
Probably Frozen, just because
Okay.
it's not the worst movie, but just for me,
For
it's
you,
just
it's just
It just
overdone.
yeah.
You have a favorite holiday?
Probably Independence Day or Thanksgiving, I guess. Yeah.
Cool. Those are both good ones. How about these are kind of this or that kind of questions. So, you prefer hot or cold?
Probably cold.
Okay. Would you rather do something that involves like something physical or sedentary?
So would I rather
Would you rather sit around and think, or would you rather get up and do something physical?
I'd probably rather sit down and think.
Right. So, how about fast or slow? Do you prefer things fast or slow?
Slow and steady wins the race.
How about now or later?
So am I more excited for things
Just in general, would you rather have it now or later?
later, I guess? I'm excited for the future.
Okay. And do you consider yourself more creative or more like intellectual?
um, probably creative. Probably creative, yeah.
Cool. Do you like to follow the rules, or would you rather break the rules?
Well, I'd rather follow the rules. My dad's the stage manager, so
You don't have a choice.
well, I do have a choice, but I mean, if I really wanted to break the rules, I could, but that's not smart. And
Okay. And do you let's see here. What do you like to snuggle, or would you rather be left alone? This is a good question. A lot of people want to know.
probably,
You don't know probably because you
probably be left alone. I don't think.
would you rather do it yourself or do it with others?
It depends on the thing we're doing. Probably with others.
Okay. Well, anyway, well, Johnathan, thanks for having this interview. It's very enlightening, even for me. So, yeah, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. Do we have any questions?
There was comments
Comments?
about
Awesome.
how much they enjoy the way he communicates and expresses himself,
Oh yeah,
and
he's always been like that. He's always been able to talk.
and lots of people who love the show.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody, and we will see you all next week.